buildings were built. But it gave the impression to the people of Ladakh that, or others, that it's only rammed earth which can be solar passive. And rammed earth, as Sonam was saying, it is not, even in California, it is not just the rich, but the richest of the rich only afford it. Because it's human ramming and takes time and it's expensive. So we wanted to showcase that passive solar heater technology is agnostic of the materiality that is used. So this is that experiment. These are 5 buildings which are all with different materials. Same footprint, 1000 square feet. Now this is camera. See that on the wall and all that yesterday. That is the safe. But this is camera. That is made of straw. So the straw which is burnt in Punjab, we bring it here, mix it with this, and therefore we avoid burning twice. Once in Punjab and once here, so we don't have to then burn the fire. That is these are panels which are made and you can just carry them and they will soft. So it is wearing a blanket on the building. So it becomes code compliant and yet passive storage and yet mud. So that's meeting them halfway. So then when this was made, the criticism was only smaller buildings will work. You know, achy floor, bigger buildings won't work. So then we started to make those larger buildings using the same techniques. So this is the staff facility, which is a composite structure where the basement is made of stone wall. The ground floor is adobe bricks because it is heavy density, and the first floor is straw clay bricks which are soft. At Secmol,
power-based drip irrigation system, and the water is coming from a borewell from about 80 feet. One may ask why borewell? The idea for having borewell here is that there is no settlement down from this way. So it's in this. In the upper village, we do a mix of borewell and stream, because if we extract borewell from up there a lot more than we need, we may have impacts in springs and borewell down in this part of the village. So since this is the lowest part of the village, this entire agricultural system behind you that you see is fed by this little guy, the borewell. This is a silt cleaner. The water runs from here and goes into that main line. And the main line runs all the way down 5 fields after the clean Jali that you see. So you can't see beyond, but there's like 5-6 fields below that line. In the upper part of the field, you will see drip irrigation, and in the lower parts of the field, you will see micro sprinklers. So here, usually we put potato, we put zucchini, we have tried onions and some other under the ground sort of vegetable things. And down there, we grow alfalfa, which is like a feed for animals. So you could use it for your own animals, or you could sell it, you can make some money. And yeah, so this is the setup here. And a similar setup for agriculture is in the upper village also. So both fields together, if I'm not wrong, last year gave around 8,000 kilos of produce, which was then by people sold in the local army section. They some for themselves, their own consumption, and then they saved the mother potato for next year. And now you can take it as a root color, but a few years ago you would just dig a hole, reach to the frost line, the line below which it never freezes. So take a feed section and put potatoes there, that's refrigeration temperature. So that's like 2-3 degrees Celsius, nothing will go bad, potato will not bring out shoots, so you can use it the next time. So yeah, so that's the system usually here. So I mean, you can see there's a root cellar right behind you. This is a root cellar in which people store their veggies for next year for personal consumption. This is the retrofitted passive solar structure that I was talking about. Now, why retrofitted? there's an original structure of the house, right? If we have to make a passive solar house, the most efficient way to do it is to make it from scratch, in which you have ideas what kind of passive solar structure it is. Is this rammed earth, adobe, straw clay, and you make it accordingly. But sometimes you have to retrofit structures because
not everybody can
Yeah.
build from scratch.
So
So,
this-
all these are Hayal's interventions. So we raise funds through either CSR or government funds, and then do it in one village, so that it becomes like a model for others, for the government even to support it.
So this is the lower side, 2 rooms, 1 chansa and 1 big room. You would see the walls inside are painted black. They were not originally painted
The
black.
temperature.
I mean, glass facade on the south side where the sun is usually. So during the winter, inclination comes down and the sun sets over that peak around 4 p.m. So maximum sunlight, double glazed windows, and this is how. Now I asked Amma about this house. They haven't lit Bukhari this winter,
Wow.
so they didn't need to
Wow.
burn fire this winter.
Amazing.
So passive solar retrofitted structure are also a very good way to approach things if you don't have enough resources to do it from scratch. Yeah, this was the
You know
two.
why it is called passive, right? There are no active heating mechanisms. Sun and option.
This is clay, but Himalayas are not supposed to have clay. Clay has a long process of formation. All soils start from mountains or hills, whatever. As the hills break in wind, in rain, in freezing, and in thawing, they break into smaller. First, huge mountains break into boulders. Then boulders break into rocks. Rocks break into stones. Stones break into pebbles. Pebbles break into sand. Sand breaks into silt. Silt, through this same process, breaks into clay. It takes so long that for forming clay, it almost never happens in the Himalayas. It happens by the time the rivers, the main being Indus, all these streams go into Indus. Yeah? This stream that you see, at the center of every village there is a stream, visible or not, you will notice. Takes the water into Indus. Indus finally takes it into Arabian Sea. So, by the time it reaches the seashore, the mountain that broke into boulders, into stones, pebbles, sand, silt, clay only reaches there and it deposits it there. So you have perfect fertile alluvial plains in Karachi and entire Sindh province. Similarly, other rivers from these same Himalayas go into Punjab, into UP, into Bihar. All those plains that are called Gangetic plains also are formed from the Himalayas, crumbling, melting, rubbing down through, and water brings them. But it takes that long to become clay. You almost never get clay here. You may get sand, which is where we are. Most natural to get sand, but clays you don't. Then the question is, how did you get such fine clay here? Turns out it's not today's clay. It is ancient clay. Yeah, very ancient clay. But before we go into that, because that brings us to the topic of understanding where we are standing. Shall I tell you another story?
Yes.
One story or science story? This is the Zanskar range. These ranges are like this. You are right now here at the Ladakh. This is the Ladakh range of mountains. You are standing here. You are looking at Zanskar range here, and in between is flowing Indus. Okay, now if you go on this south side of this range, Ladakh, if you climb and cross, you get into the Nubra Valley, just like the Leh Valley, Nubra Valley, and on the back of Nubra Valley, just like we have Ladakh range, they have Karakoram, and beyond is the Central Asia. The Indian plate. Why?
Layers, sediments.
Sediments
Yes.
all around its beaches.
Yes.
This looks like
The
Eurasian plate.
the igneous
rocks.
Organic, monochrome. This is what? It's stationary. it's not moving. This one is moving at geological pace, but this is smaller miniature version. So we'll see how the collision happens of the sedimentary layers. Yeah? And okay, let's also bring this close. So, Many formations you see?
Yes.
What do I see? This is what you see when you go to Transcar River.
Wow. Awesome.
See how it is vertical.
My
and
God.
This side you can see the proper. Yeah, you can go around and this is what